What's going on, guys? Basir here, and this video revolves around building a responsive full-feature navbar using all modern techniques. So this is what you'll achieve at the end of this video. It has some cool drop-down menu, and as you can see, upon clicking one, the previous one is gonna collapse and the new one is gonna show up. So this is a click event, not an hover event, and that is also responsive. You can see it looks pretty much decent on mobile screen as well. And you can see here at the right side there are button and input element floated that they kind of look really good. And the interesting and probably the most intimidating part of this navbar might be these many nested drop-down menus. So this might rarely happen in real-world scenarios to have 5 or 6 levels deep drop-down list. But hey, let's get prepared for those rare cases as well and for fun. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get started. So here I'm gonna create index.html file and the styling file, also the JavaScript file. So I will use emit to create an HTML boilerplate. Here nav.navbar, and with that I'm gonna have a logo. It goes nowhere, and therein there is this navbar content, and here is the navbar list. Okay, nav item, nav link. Okay, it's link 1. Let's just duplicate it. There we go. Link 2, link 3, and link 4. Okay, right here let's add this navbar right. There's just gonna be only a search input element with a class of search input. It's gonna have also a placeholder of search ... and there is a button with a class of button.button-search, and the text is search. So let's run it in live server. Okay, there we go. So let's just also do all necessary plumbing between these files as well, and it's going to be a style.css all the way down up until here. Let's write the script, and it's going to be a script.js file. Okay, in the style.css, let's choose all the elements and add this box sizing border box. In case if you're wondering, this just add the padding and border to an element's full width and height. This is what it does. Okay, and then the border margin 0, a padding 0, and the font family that I'll be using throughout the videos is going to be Sigio UI. And just to save some time, I already come up with these variables that I'll be using it throughout the entire video. All the way up until here, I'm going to start with the navbar. So this navbar should have a display of flicks and also the navbar content. Well, I can nest them like this, navbar content, but what I'd like to do in this video is to do it this way, just to save some time. So display flicks, and we also have this navbar list, which is display flicks as well. Save it. If you flip back to the browser, you can see that they are now looking cool. So this one's gonna have a background color of variable, this nav link color, actually, and this nav background, apologize for that, and that is supposed to be for this nav link, which is anchor tag, and that is gonna have this var nav link color here. Okay, and since it's anchor, I would like to get rid of that text decoration, and if I go back, how it's gonna look. We also need to fix that logo as well. So navbar, let's just call it logo anyway, and get rid of that text decoration for this as well. And the color of it is going to be variable nav link color like that. And let's add a font size of like 1.25 rem. Oops. And also a font width of 500. So we have to just float this form at the right side, and the way I do that is that I give it a width of like 100%, and that justify content is a space. There we go. Okay, and I just prepared this simple diagram to explain these flexes. Flexes start push all the item at the start of the container. Flex in, push them to the end of the container. Center, place them in the center. Space between, distribute the space between the items. And the space around, as you can see from here, it's just going to distribute the remaining space among the items, among the child of that container. So I hope that it makes sense. Back to here. Okay, now what we need to fix is that, so they need to be in the center vertically, and the way I can do that is using this align item center and adding the very same line of code for this one as well with center. Okay, back here, now that looks good. Also, let's fix that as well. So here, this is the nav item, which can have a padding, 0.5 rem and 1 rem. Okay, and I know that this is gonna have a padding as well, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And the margin, which is 0. This padding and margin, this is a UL. Okay, so it has the default padding and margin, and that I would like to get rid of that. Now flip back to here. Also, we need to get rid of those buttons. What do I call that? The style types as well. So none. Okay, beta. For the nav bar, I'm gonna add a padding of like 0.5 rem and 1 rem, and that this logo here, just going to have a margin right of like at least, save it, go back. Okay, this is it. Now the only thing that we have to fix in here is the navbar right, and then we have this button search here. We're just going to have a background color. I'm going to use from the variables again is button search, and the color of which I would choose this white color, and button search again. If I hover over that, I want the background color to be again from the button search. Search hover. Okay, so what else? Nothing back here. Okay, there it is. Only that this one needs a cursor event here, not an event cursor. And all the way down here, let's add certain stuff for the search input as well. Search input is gonna have the same padding as the button. Okay, what else? Get rid of the border, and the border radius of like 3 pixels as the button. I don't think there is anything left. Okay, so there it is. It kind of looks cool, right? And now the final step is to make a responsive, and once we made a responsive, then we'll go to these drop downs here. So shrink down the size of browser, it looks hideous. Let's fix that. So I'm gonna put that in here. It's gonna take a minute actually. Okay, yeah, like that. So okay, here we have this responsive design, add media screen and maximum width of 992 pixels. Yeah, I know that's very big, but this is what Bootstrap likes to go as well, so I'm going to choose 992, but you can choose 768 as well. Anyway, so then the nav bar, let's get rid of the padding, and this is the way I like to do. Okay, so nav height, and then we have this nav bar content here, which for now I want to display it as none. Okay, just to save some time, I already come up with some styles for the burger menu, and I'm going to copy paste it in here. Okay, I really apologize. but I have to save some time. I know this video is gonna be very long and that is necessary. So here in this index.html, I'm gonna add this burger and you'll see in a minute what is this gonna do. So style.css, okay, it's nav toggler, gotta change it to burger all the way down, then replace it with the burger. And let's see, okay, this has to be replaced with a variable. Oh, black, really? It's black, named black, but it's white. Okay, never mind, you can ignore that. So this is how it is gonna look. And that also, I'd like to get rid of that hover effect. I don't like it. In the script.js, grab that burger, document, dot query selector, actually query selector of the burger, and burger.add event listener. I would say that on click, let's run this function. Okay, so what it does is it's gonna add actually toggle. I'm gonna go with toggle. It's gonna add this class of active to it whenever I click on this. Okay, so when I click that, you can see now it's changed to this decent crossing. Okay, so back into style.css. Now it's time to fix this navbar content. Display none, comment that out, and let's fix it. So let's add a background color for this. Okay, background color, again from the variables of the nav background. From the top, it's gonna have like okay, variable of the nav height. Okay, exactly the same height that we use for the nav bar. From the top, it's gonna have this space, but we need to position that as absolute for top to work. Okay, and that from the right it is 0. It's gonna have a width of 50 vertical width, but we are gonna fix that later. And also minimum height, of which I'll go with calc 100 vh minus again nav height here. And the only thing that needs to be fixed here is this flex direction of the column, and that this justify content, this has to be flex start, because previously it wasn't. Now way up until here we have this navbar list, and let's add this flex direction of column to this as well, because by default that is flex direction row, and now it looks good. So also width of, let's add 100% width to this one as well, and a padding of 0.5 rem on 1 rem. And then we have this navbar right, which again I'm gonna add that padding for this as well. Okay, well, this kind of looks good. As a final fix that we have to do for this, what is happening here? Okay, so I believe that this has a width of 100%. Yeah, so this one, navbar content, let's say overflow heading, is this going to fix that now? Yeah, okay. So then what else do we need to do is to go in a script.js and say that when I click on it, I want to get this navbar underscore content document.query selector, this one here, and this is going to be navbar dash content like that, and then this navbar content dot classlist dot toggle. What I would like to do is to add this class of show to this, and yet we haven't added that yet here, so let's add that navbar content dot show, and all it does is that it's gonna add this 50 vertical width to it. Okay, save it. Now if I click that, okay, why? Well, if I click that, so we have navbar content, navbar dash content, navbar content dot classlist dot toggle show. That's not supposed to have that dot there. Okay, here we go. But here I'm gonna add this transition for the width to be like 0.2 second, ease in and out. Save it, and now this should look good. Okay, This looks really good. Finally, we are done up until this point. Let's just get rid of this in bigger screens. How do I do that? Obviously, all these burger menus, they are not supposed to be here. Let's just place all of those within here. Okay, all the way down. I'm going to choose this place. Okay, now it looks better. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, yeah, I forgot to actually add a margin bottom for that. So this search input in small screens, it's gonna have a margin bottom of like at least 1 rem. Okay, that looks horrible. 0.5 rem, would you say? Okay, this looks a little bit better. So now we are all done. So I hope that makes sense. Let's just maximize that and add the drop down menu. Okay, so I already have this one to save some time. Again, cdnjs.com, search for font awesome, and you'll come with this page here. Just copy this URL, go to, okay, let me maximize that, go to here all the way up until there. Let's add this CDN or content delivery network. Okay, so once this added, then you can add a i.ifs.if a-caret-down 5, and here i.ifs.if a-caret-down. Okay, again, make sure there is a space between them. Go back. Why are you not working? Here we go. So we added this in here, and we are pretty much not so far from the end results. So let's add that drop down menu pretty quick. Just gonna have a drop down excuse me, drop down list, but before that I gotta add this drop down container, wrap that in there, and then drop down button. And inside here, let's add this anchor tag, call this link 1 and link 2, link, okay, link 3, okay, here link 4 and link 5. Save it, and that here, okay, if you go back it looks terrible, I know. Let's just style that here all the way until there. So this drop down is gonna have a position of relative, and that this drop down list just gonna have a position of absolute, like that, and it's gonna have a width. I'm gonna use clamp for this, 160 pixel, 180 pixel, and 220 pixels. So you might be wondering, I just right now come up with these random numbers. So this is the actual width, this is the minimum width, and the maximum width. This is how it's gonna work. Okay, oh, look at this minimum width, 120 pixels. Now it looks good. And that, okay, inside this drop down list we have some A's, which text decoration is excuse me, okay, it's none. And okay, let's just see what else do we have to add here. Okay, those links are not looking good. Okay, let's display it as block, and here for this one I'm gonna add this padding of 0.5 rem from top and bottom, and 0 is gonna come there. And let's add a background color for this one. I like it to be pure white, like that. Okay, yep. So the border radius 0.5, no, I don't like it. I'll go with that 3 pixel. Okay, something doesn't look good. Okay, let's just copy this box shadow. I already come up with this, and I'm gonna use it in a border of 1 pixel solid CCC, which kind of grayish. Okay, back here. Let's fix these A's here. That it's gonna have a padding of like 0.5 rem and 1 rem. Okay, and that I would say when this drop down list here, when A is hovered, add this background color for this. Here we go. Okay, if I go back, okay, this looks good. And again, from the top, I forgot to add this 100%. Okay, so this is going to be position 100% from the top. So let's add that drop down right as well. So here again, instead of link 3, I'm going to replace it with another drop down, and this drop down is going to have another button called as drop down dash button here, and link 3 obviously. Then we have this drop down list, and inside that again same history, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, I'm gonna add this drop down inner, and you'll get to know that in a bit why I call that drop down inner. So this is the drop down inner. Only thing we have to do is to position it at the right side. And how do we do that? Is that I'm gonna target this drop down inner here. Okay, and style the CSS here, drop down dash inner, actually gotta be placed here. So this drop down inner is gonna have a 100% space from the left, and from the top it is 0. Okay, back here it looks good. Now let's go to index.html and at i.fs.fa-caret right. Okay, yep. Then this drop down button, okay, where do I write it? I think this is the right position for it. So it's gonna have again display of flicks, but justify content of this one is going to be space between. And then if I go back, why? Maybe I need to make it important, save it, and then go back. Okay. Still it's not the center, so to center that I'm gonna say text align center. No, that's align items. Align items center. Save it. So this looks good. Let's add the very same thing for the rest of it. Okay, copy it, go to link number 3, paste it, save it, and again paste it, save it. Okay, it's gonna be overkill to have so many drop down menus, but okay, let me show you how it looks. There it is. Also, well, yeah, that's it for now, at least for now. Okay, so let's just add this this click event here. So what I have to do is to go there and grab the drop down buttons, document.query, selector all of the drop down dash button. Okay, and here let's just loop over every single one of these drop down buttons and say that okay, I'm gonna call that as button, and say that button.add event listener. On click, I would like to run this function. This is gonna take e or event, and I want the e.next, okay, e.current target dot next element sibling. Actually, this is the drop down, so I'm gonna save it in a variable and then say that drop down dot class list dot toggle. I would like to add this class of show. So here in this drop down is gonna have a display of none by default, but on trigger we are gonna show it, and that this drop down list dot show is gonna have display block. Save it. Now if I go back, refresh and click, there we go, it shows up and it really looks cool, right? You can see it really looks good. And now one more thing, when I click here, I just want this to go away. And how do I do that? Coming there, document, okay, window actually, window.onClick, let's add this, and also I'm gonna grab the event there and say that if event dot target dot matches, right, if it doesn't match this drop down button, if it doesn't match that drop down button, then go through every single one of these drop downs. Document dot query selector all. Okay, this is going to be the drop down list, and that then we're gonna loop over every single one of that and say drop down, then see if this drop down has a class of show. Dropdown dot class list dot contains show. If it includes that show class, then dropdown dot class list dot remove this class of show. So some lines of JavaScript. Just go back, click it, click away. It's not going out. Why? Let's see. So here we are checking if it's not the drop down button, and then looping over every single one of that. Then for each drop downs, no, we don't even need to add that here actually. Yeah, well, it has to work, and that if I click that, okay, yeah, it's working. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna copy the very same drop down list here for the next one. Okay, choose it this way, copy it, something, yep, save it, and then get rid of this one here. Away here, call this as link 4. Save it, and then if I go back and click that, click this, okay, so this is working good. If I click away, both are gone, but the problem is that when I click this, both are shown. I don't want that. So how do I prevent it? Is that here this has to go between this add event listener, and right at this place is to say that, okay, let's loop over every drop downs again. Oops. Document dot query selector all, and then we have this drop down list actually, and this drop down list is followed by a drop down button, and then for each drop down, okay, here we go. So this is the drop down list. So I'll say that if this drop down, okay, drop down is not equal to the e dot current target dot next element sibling. If it is not equal to that, then I want this drop down dot class list dot remove the class of show from here. Okay, going back, click it, click that, okay, it is working. Now you can see if I click this one, the previous one is gonna closed. The final thing we have to fix here is this one here. You can see that now link 3 is not working because of the code that we wrote here, and I don't want that to be a click event. Now I want that to be rather a hover event. And how do I do that? Is that I'll go all the way down here and then say that drop down, okay, the drop down list, and then again drop down, okay, this drop down which is inside this drop down, if that's the case, then drop down list, I want that to display as block. Save it, go back here and click that. There we go. It kind of looks cool, right? But the only thing I don't like about it is that if I hover that, all of these are going to show up, but I want one level at a time. And how do we do that? It's very simple. add this sign, and now you should be good. Okay, click that. There we go. Very nice, very cool and awesome. And as I mentioned earlier, you can add as many of that as you want. Let's just do this for fun. Okay, yep, here. Okay, this is overkill. I know this is overkill, but I like doing it and showing you guys. So back here, yeah, okay. So many drop-down lists nested within each another. Here I need to add a background color for the active one here. Okay, so I'll do that by copying this line of code and then adding this background color of DEDEDF. There we go. And if I go back, now you can see the background color is added nice and smoothly. Okay, yeah, it looks good. And if I shrink down the size of the browser, it kind of looks terrible. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, well, yeah, actually drop down. Okay, so this drop down button is no more going to have this justify content of space between, rather it's going to be flex start. Okay, yeah, so it's better to be in here. Now the drop down list, this is going to have a position of relative. I don't want that hang out in there like that. Okay, and finally drop down, then drop down list. Again, this drop down, okay, I want this to have this display of none when it's in a small screens. Yeah, it has that display of none. Okay, click that again, go back. Okay, that's gone. You might be thinking that okay, it's not fair. Well, it is not possible to fit all those drop downs and the one that we created earlier into here, but here is a way you can do that this way. Drop down inner. Again, you're not gonna like it anyway, I'm saying that in advance. And from the left is 0, and there we go. And now you can see, yeah, so this is how you can do that in mobile screen. But what I like to do is to just go back and get rid of it. So yeah, if the user is using mobile to access their website, then they are going to be deprived from some of the menus, and it is okay, they can access that back in their computer, no problem. Okay, back to here. Now it is totally responsive, everything works fine and good. Let's check that real quick again. Okay, click away, click this, that. Okay, that looks really good, only that this logo here in small screens, add that padding. Okay, padding of the left one rim. Save it. There we go. Now it's doing good. Okay, we are done, boys. Okay, as a final step, if you're curious how to add that showcase image there, so choose that showcase and back in here in style.css all the way up until here. Okay, let's call this a showcase and grab that showcase like that, and then say that it's gonna have a position of absolute. From the top it is 0, from the left it is 0, and it's gonna have a width of 100% and obviously a height of 100%, and this gonna have a background image. Okay, I can't type, so the URL, the background image, yeah, I already have that here, you can see. And finally the z index of -1. Okay, back here, there we go. So background size, cover, background repeat, no repeat. However, you can do that in one line, but anyway, So that was it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in next video.